I could end the deficit in 5 minutes. You just pass a law that says anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. That's not me talking. That's someone with access to more financial data than almost anyone on Earth. And what he's really saying is that America is heading for economic disaster. The U.S. national debt just hit $35 trillion. And according to legendary investor Warren Buffett, we're approaching the point of no return. But what does that actually mean for you, your family, and your future? Today, I'm going to break down exactly why Buffett believes America is teetering on the edge of a debt spiral that has destroyed countries throughout history. I'll show you the 4 stages of this economic death cycle, reveal the terrifying numbers most people never see, and explain what this means for your financial future. I've spent the last month analyzing federal budget data, studying historical debt crises, and reviewing Buffett's exact warnings about America's fiscal trajectory. And what I found is honestly shocking. But first, let me introduce you to John. John makes $5,000 a month but spends $6,000. That extra $1,000 comes from credit cards. Now, 1 month of this isn't catastrophic. But when John does this, month after month, year after year, something terrifying happens. The debt grows, the interest payments increase, and eventually those interest payments become so large that John has to borrow even more money just to pay the interest on his existing debt. Sound familiar? This is exactly what's happening to America. Except instead of John's $1,000 problem, we're talking about a $1.7 trillion annual deficit that's growing every single second. Let's put that in perspective. If you stacked $1 bills to represent America's debt, the pile would reach the moon and back multiple times, and every minute, that stack gets higher. Here are the numbers that should terrify you. In 2023, the U.S. government brought in $4.4 trillion in revenue, but it spent $6.1 trillion. That's a $1.7 trillion shortfall that had to be borrowed. Here's where it gets worse. 11% of our entire federal budget now goes just to paying interest on debt we've already accumulated. That's over $600 billion a year. Money that can't be spent on infrastructure, education, or defense because it's locked into servicing old debt. And the Congressional Budget Office projects this deficit will balloon to $2.9 trillion by 2034. At that point, our debt-to-GDP ratio will hit levels not seen since World War II. Let me pause here. Imagine if every dollar you paid in taxes, more than a dime, went straight to interest. Money you'll never see again, just to keep the lights on. This is what Buffett calls the debt spiral, and it happens in 4 devastating stages. Stage 1, rising debt. The country spends more than it takes in year after year. Stage 2, higher interest payments. As debt grows, lenders demand higher rates, making borrowing more expensive. Stage 3, more borrowing to cover interest. The country borrows money just to pay interest on existing debt. Stage 4, the cycle accelerates. Each stage feeds into the next, creating an unstoppable downward spiral. So, what does this mean for you? Think about your mortgage, your student loans, or your credit card bills. When interest rates go up, your payments get bigger. Now multiply that by every American, every business, every government program. That's the tidal wave heading our way. Here's the math that should keep you awake at night. Every 1% rise in interest rates costs America an additional $350 billion annually. That's 8% of all tax revenue. Gone, just from a single percentage point increase. Buffett warned about this back in 1995, saying that once a country's debt-to-GDP ratio approaches 150%, you're in dangerous territory. Italy hit that level and saw 12% of their entire economy consumed by interest payments alone. America is projected to reach 150 to 180% debt to GDP in the coming decades, levels that have historically marked the point of no return for nations. And here's the kicker. The more we borrow, the more we owe. The more we owe, the more we pay in interest. The more we pay in interest, the less we have for everything else. Roads, schools, even national defense. The question isn't if this will impact your life, it's how soon and how severely.